I have no idea where I remember seeing a styrofoam head being used on a light stand to get focus on the camera, but I'm stealing that idea. It was probably some random YouTube video I saw like 5 years ago, but it works pretty well. Then you don't have to have a stand in. This is the lighting setup I am using for the shot of me getting up off the ground. This was horrible, and I'm hoping to get this right the first time because I never want to set it up again, so fun times.
Alright, Deadly Darts behind the scenes. Pretend this came out months ago because it was supposed to. Normally, filmmaking brings me more happiness in life than anything else. I love making movies, it is my passion. I am currently in the process of applying to film schools, and this was not the case with Deadly Darts. I hated making this one. I'll just be honest. Deadly Darts started as a project I made back in 2019 as a high school film production class project. We had to make a silent film that was in black and white, and the whole goal was just to show off how we could use lighting, that kind of thing. And I forgot about the project until the night before, and then had one night to put together this project that I came up with the idea on the spot. It was great for how little time I put into it, but I've wondered ever since then if it turned out that good and without any preparing at all, if I actually sat down and put time into making it again, how much better would I be these years later now? So that's what I did. I rewatched the original video. I wrote a secondary outline of all the things I would change different from the original version, and I just went from there. The shot list was kind of all over the place. It had a lot of the jokes that made it in the script, but mostly not. I didn't follow it much at all. It was one of those things where I just got an idea and then I'd roll with it and then go with it even further. And I got in this rhythm of having a set number of jokes that was I just wanted to make sure every shot had a purpose. And just as I was filming, I was thinking this could lead into this joke and this joke and this joke. And the goal was to just have 2 straight minutes of just non-stop gags, and each one being more and more outrageous. So me getting hit in the head with the pool ball was not planned. Me getting hit in the head with the pool ball the second time, also not planned. It just seemed like the natural progression of how insane things were getting. In the original version of Deadly Darts, which was called A Ghoulish Game of Pool, the ending didn't have anything to do with darts at all. It ended simply with the player, me, taking a picture of the other side of the pool table, and then in that picture you see the ghost, just like you do in the remake, but then that was just the ending. Nothing ever came of it. With Deadly Darts, I showed this to an English teacher at my school who had been helping me out with filmmaking because he's actually released 2 movies of his own. So he's kind of my mentor when it comes to these kind of things. And he told me what I already kind of knew, which was that the ending wasn't good. He told me that I should write 10 endings and then pick the best one. And it sounds like a hard thing to do because it kind of is a hard thing to do. But I've done it for every other script I've come up with since then because it was a really helpful practice. I wrote 10 different ways that this movie could have ended. Some of them weren't very good. Some were even worse than it just ending. Some are pretty funny, and some were just completely outside of the realm of possibility. They couldn't be done. I had one idea where an invisible pool stick would have flown off the rack, and then I would have grabbed a pool stick, and then me and the ghost would have had like a sword fight with the pool sticks. I don't know how that would have been possible to do, but I just wrote it down because I needed 10 endings. Once I had my 10, the ending that I eventually went with, which was to have a dart hit the board and then come back, it both was practical in the sense to where I didn't know how I would do it, but I knew that I could do it. And it was just funny. I like the idea that if I call it Deadly Darts and then play pool for the entire time, it would just come completely out of nowhere to have the guy get killed by a dart. But it also makes sense within the realm of this weird universe that he would just die by a flying dart the same way these pool balls have been flying. So I was happy I went with that for the ending.
Hello, in the garage, because it's too noisy inside. As I'm editing this, I realized I forgot to explain how I filmed the ending of the dart going into my head. Basically, what I did there was I had that light pole with the mannequin head on it. I took that, I stuck it where I stand, and then I threw a dart at the mannequin. Then I did the separate take of me standing there and throwing the dart. And I just cut the bottom half of the clip of the dart coming back at me so that it cut off the mannequin and then pasted it over the clip of me. I hope that made sense. I don't know any good way to visualize it, so you're just gonna have to imagine that. But two clips put together, one had me in it, one didn't. I shot the clip of the dart coming back at me at 60 frames per second so that it could be seen better, and I slowed it down a little bit. That's about it. I should have recorded the process of actually making it, but at that point I just wanted to be done.
So when filming time came around, my tripod was broken, so I picked up my backup tripod, also broken. So that wasn't fun, so I borrowed a tripod from school, and it wasn't broken, but it was horrible. So I had to end up Frankensteining together my tripods with bolts, just anything to get them to hold the camera. And that took at least a week. Then on top of that, my audio recording setup at the time was just god awful. So I just decided to keep it silent. Originally, it was going to be just mainly with music, but I still wanted to have like pool sound effects, but it just wasn't working out. Now I got a cool audio recorder. This is my first time using it, and it's over there with the red lights. You can't see it, but trust me, it's snazzy. I didn't record much behind the scenes because, like I said, was not having the most fun with this, so I kind of just wanted to get it done. And I also had to submit it for a filmmaking competition. So I had a deadline I needed to meet, and just filming behind the scenes was not on the top of my mind. But I did get some clips, but what I didn't record, for sure, was the making of the fake pool ball. Throughout the short film, you saw me multiple times get hit in the face with hard round objects known as pool balls, and I couldn't do that for real because I'd break my nose. So, what we did instead, I took many trips to Michael's craft store, and I got these foam balls that were about the same size as a pool ball. They were a little bigger, but on camera you didn't really notice. And then I painted it orange. I printed off a sticker with an 8 in the closest font I could get to the real pool ball. Put that on there, and then I stuck a hole in the middle, put fishing line in the hole, and then glued it. And then that is how that whole bit was able to be done. I don't know what else to say. Could have ended that in many better ways. That was how we achieved that effect. There we go. I say we, it was just me. I did this alone. And now you will see past me talking about the process of editing out the fishing line, because it is still visible on camera, even though it's pretty clear.
Alright, I don't know how well you can actually see this, but apparently you can edit video in Photoshop. So I have this clip right here where I should have shown you before in the behind the scenes, but I've got a string pulling the fake pool ball out of the hole, and you can see it pretty good coming down my hair around my hand. It's hard to see on the phone screen, but basically I just have to go in every single frame, which there are 24 of per second, and just chip away at it. And that's how I get rid of the fishing line in the clip. It takes forever. I've been doing this for hours, and I never want to make another video again.
Wow, great insight, old me. Now, back to current me. I need to talk about the second pool ball, which is the one that gets thrown across the room and hits me in the head. That one I didn't want to have to worry about editing out a string again, because that would have been horrible. So instead I just built a second fake pool ball that had no string. I don't even think I put a sticker on that one. And then I just had it thrown at my head. It didn't hurt. It was fine. It did hurt falling on the ground all those 20 times, which you'll hear me talk about here.
So there are certain scenes like these where I have to have the lights set up in a certain place that I don't want to have to move them around if I want to shoot again. So what I'll do is I'll just have one long video where I do 20 takes. 20 is just the number I usually go with. And then I'll sit down and watch it, and then I'll have a little sticky note here where As each take comes up on screen, I'll either give it an X if I don't like it, an M for meh, or a check mark if I think it'll be good. And then I'll narrow it down from there, so I'll decide which clip of me getting hit in the head with the ball I want to use. Yeah, so that one I gave an X, for example. So that's the process there.
For the segment where the pool ball floats up and out of the pocket and then goes through the basement, that was probably the hardest take of the video. I'm hesitant to say that because there were a lot of strange effects. But that was probably it. When it goes in the trash can especially, I had to learn how to use After Effects, which I've never used before, just because I wanted to have that gag where it just blows up. So I had to add the fire there and then mask out the fire and getting rid of the fishing line, but on a whole new level. There is actually one shot in the whole film where it was done in front of a green screen instead of having the ball be actually there. That is when you see me shoot the ball into the pocket and then you see my reaction as it floats up. That wasn't fun. Are you noticing a trend here? That one, I originally had someone off camera pulling the ball up with a string, but no matter what I did, it was impossible to cut out that string without also smudging my face in the background or distorting it. It just never looked right. So instead, I filmed me lifting the ball up on a green screen, and then I cut out the fishing line from the green screen clip, put that over the clip of me reacting to the floating pool ball that isn't actually there. And then I spent a long time trying to make sure the shadows and the contrast and everything lined up to make it look like that pool ball was actually there. And you probably didn't even notice this until I'm calling it out now, but it actually sticks out pretty bad. I was hesitant to even keep that joke in the movie because I thought it looked too obvious that it was fake. But when I showed it to other people, they didn't know. So yeah, there we go. I just exposed my secret. I do wish I would have recorded more behind the scenes in hindsight, but I'm working on my next short film, The Bottle, and that should have a lot more. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy The Bottle. I hope you enjoy the making of The Bottle, which will come sometime after The Bottle. Hopefully sooner than this came after Deadly Darts, but I'm weird with upload schedules. You guys know that. Vimeo doesn't help sometimes. So although I didn't get to show everything I'd like to, I hope you learned something from this process and my explanations. If you did, maybe Tips and Blaze. I have an announcement coming out about Blaze sometime soon. Whenever Cash Out comes out, it'll be going to good use, trust me. So if you feel like donating it, go ahead and do that. And thank you anyway. Thank you for watching. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch me talk about me things. It means a lot. See you at the bottle.